Look at my kitty. My kitty's amazing. Give him a lick. He tastes like granola, Kit Kat. I don't know. He leaves hair all over me, and he's not very delighted about being in this video. Why, kitty? Why? Look, you're gonna be on YouTube. Yes, give it a little wink. Grumpy kitty's grumpy. Anywho. Ah! God damn it. Okay. Alright. Let's take it slow. Gonna fix the lights. Is this better? Looks better. Maybe a little more. I got no fucking idea. I just know that this camera is messing up with my light and my beauty. Okay, so the second part of the videos that I decided to make to present more thoroughly to you some characters that we did is right now, right here. And the second part of these big projects that we did in the summer are Alice in, I don't know, Asylum land. And The Last Oasis, commonly known as Apocalypto. I don't know why, but that name just came to our minds when we decided to do the character, and I'll say something more about it. Anyhow, I haven't published photos from Alice yet, because for some reason it turns out to be such a heavy story that requires a lot of work in the editing and post-production generally, that it's very time-consuming. Story behind Alice is actually that it's a dedicated work. You know, it's a little bit of, you know, activist, because we want to dedicate that project to young people around the world that have psychological issues. It's very common nowadays. A lot of my young friends and a lot of people I hear every day about having different kind of psychological issues that are preventing them from functioning normally on a daily basis, more or less. But I even talked to my mother about that, and she was like, yeah, I know. I hear those stories all the time, and there's nothing to be ashamed of. There's no need to feel afraid of looking for help and being in treatments, and as long as you realize that you have a problem and that you're not afraid to talk about it and ask for help, everything is treatable. And every kind of burden generally that you're carrying on your soul and your mind that causes you to not function as a happy, a normal, free person on a daily basis can be treatable. It's all in the power of will. So the story of Alice follows a character that's in an asylum, from bottom to top. We decided to take photos of that in an abandoned villa in Kняževac, and we started from the basement, and the story is carried through the costume change. Very fun thing was that 3 days before we did the shoot, we made costumes. All of the costumes were hand sewn by the members of the CVA team, and that was super fun. We had so much fun. We even had the moment when we finished the straitjacket where we all like took turns of taking photos in it, and they actually chased me around the garden in a straitjacket, barefoot, blabbering and screaming around and with a camera, and that was hilarious. That was amazing, you know. That was a relieving experience, actually, finding yourself wearing a straitjacket. It's like, oh, I could wear this on a daily basis, because that's how I feel most of the time. but never mind. I mean, you know, that's what makes the whole project actually as big as it is. Tamara even made the shoes. You know, like Alex made the headpiece. I hand sewn most of the costumes. Some of them were edited old clothes, but most of the costumes were hand sewn from scratch. And so it begins in the basement in a straitjacket. The character that has her mouth like melted away and stitched, which is, I don't even know how to explain that, because I'm a person who talks a lot, generally. There is an occasion when I don't talk a lot, but I don't want to talk about it now. Involving substances. Anyway, and having my mouth stitched was a challenge for me to model with a stitched mouth. And the part in the basement where I also had my hands tied in a straitjacket was like, well, I can't talk, I can't move my arms, I can't even like I can't mimic anything. That part of the shoot, well, it kind of finished a little fast because, you know, it was putting me like in this cube of what the heck. And I mean, there is a part on the window where I'm taking one strap after another, only using fingernail scissors, which is one of two things that are being dragged throughout the whole story. The second one is a clock, because we're constantly reminding people that it's time to admit, it's time to talk, it's time to work on yourself. And I mean, the moment where I find the scissors and I'm trying to grab them with my feet, and then I'm using only my feet and contortion skills to get out of the straitjacket, you know, is, you know, giving that weight to the story. And as I move up through the villa, I become, you know, more and more free of the straitjacket, you know, and eventually I change my clothes. I find clothes and I change my clothes. And to tell people that it's time consuming working on yourself. We also do wig changes. I started off with purple hair, then I ended up blonde in that middle section, and it's kind of an emotional section, you know, that middle part where I have blonde hair, because I'm encountering the eat me, drink me. I'm encountering the Cheshire Cat, which is actually a little kitty figurine. That was you know, the equivalent that we found that we could use as a prop. I'm encountering the white rabbit, which is in my case not white, it's pink, that I toss off. I'm tossing the white rabbit off the balcony. I told you, it's an emotional moment. It's a moment where actually I tried to commit suicide, so there is a part of the set where I'm actually trying to jump off the window. Knowing that, I mean, I'm an aerialist, you can expect that kind of thing from me. I'm still covered in Hudini's hair. You can expect something like an exhibition like that from me, but it was great. It was a great experience, and since it was a very windy day, you know, the wind just enhanced everything. My clothes were like, my hair, the wig, it was flying everywhere, and you know, it was enhancing the feeling. And as we moved on to the third floor and the attic, there is a part where I cut off my hair with the fingernail, nail scissors, whatever. It's also, you know, that emotional part. I mean, there is a part where I'm like, you don't want my tea? Why don't you want my tea? Drink my tea. Because people will run away from you if they see that you have an issue, if you're defected in any way. Through my high school, I had the pleasure to hang out with some people, and later on to meet some people that are physically handicapped, and that are, you know, people are avoiding them for their handicap, but they're actually one of the nicest people I've ever met. Even being surrounded by people with a mental handicap can sometimes be very rewarding, because, you know, they're on a level that is not yet corrupted, so, and they're all screaming from the inside, why don't you want my tea? Why don't you want my company? And, you know, the photos meant exactly that. And as we move on, I cut my hair, and I end up with short black hair, and I'm completely, like, from any bond, any restraint, I'm free of them, except my stitched mouth. So I take my clock to tell everyone it's time, and I take the scissors, and we go up on a tower, which you can see the whole city from, and there's that wind blowing, and it's an amazing feeling, and I sit on the edge. Adrenaline was rushing, and you can see, you know, where I'm sitting, there's just the sky and me on top of that house, and I'm cutting open my mouth, which is the last level, you know, of release. And that felt amazing. I had a little problem with my prosthetics, because I did not bring any materials to do a touch-up, so I was ripping it all open, but it was starting to crack on the seams where my upper lip is, so it was like sketchy, but we pulled it through. And, you know, we winged the end, like, with just the clock where my mouth was. And it was a great experience. I mean, I personally like the warm... Who doesn't like warm wind? Everybody likes being in warm wind. Except old people, I guess. But old people don't like anything. And just, you know, feeling my wig, like, smashing into my face in that big dress, just going, like, up and down, and who am just playing the character, felt like I actually went through that transformation, and that was a really good experience. And after a shoot like that, when you cut open your mouth, experiencing water is appreciating it after that. It's just, fuck, give me the whole bottle, you know. I even took an orange drink after that. I would have taken beer. I would have taken anything after that shoot. So it was amazing. And that was day one.